Revealed, how one unexpected coffee order changed the life of a struggling girl on a blind date. Mia's heart raced as the aroma of fresh brews and warm pastries enveloped her in the little coffee shop that felt like home. Today felt different, charged with anticipation. Her friends had set her up on a blind date, and with Lily, her 6-year-old daughter, in the care of a neighbor, Mia was ready to dive into the life of possibilities, maybe even a slice of the American dream. Between serving customers and exchanging smiles with regulars, she felt the weight of her struggles pressing down on her. Could this be the night everything changed? Then, the door swung open, and in strolled Mark, tall, confident, exuding an aura of success that made the air crackle with tension. The usual chatter faded, all eyes bouncing between the two of them. "One black coffee, please," he ordered with a charming smile that sent butterflies fluttering in Mia's stomach. It was clear he was someone who belonged to a different world. In her nervous flurry, she grabbed a lavish frappé, the rich caramel drizzling down the sides like a symbol of her chaotic life. "Oops. That's not your order," she blurted, chuckling nervously. But Mark leaned into the moment, teasing, "Are you trying to impress me with a dessert drink?" Laughter erupted, tilting the evening toward warmth, but beneath their playful banter, Mia felt the uneasiness of their class divide creeping in. "Do you always serve fancy drinks?" he asked, his curiosity leading their conversation into deeper waters. They spoke of coffee preferences, quickly finding common ground, but as they navigated ambition and dreams under the restaurant's soft lighting, the disconnect loomed larger. Mark, the businessman, shared his visions of grandeur while Mia's aspirations felt like whispers muffled by the clanging of dishes and the hum of blenders. She squirmed, fighting the tightness in her chest as he spoke of his luxurious life and family expectations. She longed to be part of that world, yet felt trapped by the gravity of her own reality. Before she could fully retreat into herself, they exchanged glances, the kind that unearthed words unspoken. "Life isn't about what you have but who you are," she finally said, her voice steady as she slid a handwritten note across the table. It felt risky, vulnerable. "What do you think? Does money really measure success?" The atmosphere thickened. His brow furrowed, and for a fragment of time, tension crackled like static electricity. Just then, the shrill ring of her phone pierced through the moment, pulling her back to earth. "Mommy." Lily's voice chirped, buoyant yet urgent. "I miss you." A cascade of guilt rushed over Mia. Her daughter was waiting, needing her. It was a reminder that she couldn't escape the harsh realities that painted her world, and her heart sank as Mark watched her nerves flit across her face. He too felt the weight of their lives collide head-on. Would they find common ground, or would the chasm of their differences drive them apart before they had the chance to truly connect? In that critical moment, both were left with unasked questions hanging in the air, leaving only the tantalizing promise of possibility flickering dimly between them. What will happen next? Mia could feel the warmth of the coffee shop wrap around her like an embrace, grounding her in a moment that felt both exhilarating and daunting. She glanced at Mark, who seemed lost in thought as he raked a hand through his hair, trying to find the right words to respond. His brow furrowed, and she held her breath, hoping he wouldn't retreat into a shell of privilege that felt so distant to her. "Lily's a lucky girl," Mark finally said, his tone softer now. "I can only imagine how much she needs you." His eyes sparkled with sincerity, and Mia felt a flicker of hope. Perhaps, just perhaps, they could bridge this gap between them. She shifted in her seat, trying to read him, to decipher what lay beneath his polished exterior. "What about you? Do you have a family?" she asked, feeling the current of their budding connection. "Just my work and some expectations," he admitted with a light chuckle, but his eyes darkened momentarily. He leaned back, crossing his arms. "Sometimes it feels like I'm just chasing shadows." Mia found herself studying his handsome face, the slight crease forming between his brows, the way he absent-mindedly tapped his fingers on the table, as if the rhythm could drown out the noise of his life. "I get that," she replied, keeping her voice steady despite the tremor in her heart. "Chasing dreams can make you feel more alone than ever." Their exchange lingered in the air, creating a fragile thread of understanding. But before it could deepen, the coffee shop door swung open again and in walked a couple, laughter spilling forth like an unwelcome intruder. Mark straightened, momentarily distracted, and Mia fought against the pang of jealousy that bubbled inside her. They were the picture of a carefree life, and suddenly the disparities of their worlds pressed heavily upon her again. Would this only be a fleeting moment? Do you mind if I? Mark started, his intention to stand, but then he stopped. I really do want to know more about you. Tell me about Lily. How did you end up working here? The question hung there like a lifeline. It felt like an invitation to share her truth, to unveil the layers of her life that she typically kept hidden. Well, she began, her voice more confident than she felt. Lily came first. She's my world, you know. Before that, I was just lost working several jobs, drifting through life. Being a mother changed everything for me. It gave me focus. His gaze warmed, and the tension eased. I admire that. It takes guts to prioritize family over everything else. There was respect there, and for a moment, Mia dared to think that maybe they were two people, not so far apart after all. Just as everything began to feel more authentic, her phone buzzed in her pocket again. Mia's heart sank as she pulled it out, seeing an urgent message from the neighbor. Missed calls and texts, she muttered, a lump forming in her throat. I have to go, something's wrong with Lily. Anxiety spread across her face like ink on paper. Mark's expression shifted, empathy flooded his features. I can come with you. Is it serious? No. She exclaimed, panic rising. You don't have to. I can handle it. But even as she said it, doubt crept in. What if Lily needed her, and she struggled to be there? Mark nodded, understanding her need for independence, yet his steely resolve offered a glimmer of kindness. Just know I'm here if you need anything, he said softly. As she gathered her things, Mia felt the weight of her choices bearing down on her. How could things change overnight? She found herself wishing for a moment of courage, a nudge toward connection, yet her heart shouted for her daughter. I'll call you, she managed to say, uncertain. Mia stepped out into the cascade of streetlights illuminating the night, her thoughts swirling. Would this moment slip through her fingers like sand? What awaited her on the other side? But deep within, a single desire stirred. She wanted clarity. Could love bloom in such a chaotic life? As if sensing her resolution, the night offered a quiet promise, leaving her to ponder the answer as she hurried away. Mia's heart raced as she hurried down the sidewalk, each step pulling her further away from the warmth of the coffee shop and Mark's comforting presence. The cold air bit at her skin, but it was the gnawing fear in her stomach that set the real chill inside her. What could possibly be wrong with Lily? She thought, panic drumming in her ears. Arriving at her building, Mia glanced up at the windows, searching for any sign of movement. The world around her faded, the street noise just a dull background hum to her racing thoughts. She fumbled for her keys, her fingers trembling as she tried to get the door open. Would Lily be okay? Had something happened? The moment the door swung open, she was met by her neighbor, Mrs. Johnson, standing there with worry etched on her face. Mia. Thank goodness you're here. Where's Lily? The urgency in her voice startled even her. She's in your apartment, Mrs. Johnson replied, stepping aside to let Mia in. She just had a little fall, nothing major, but she's been crying. I didn't want to leave her alone. Relief mixed with dread washed over Mia. She rushed inside, almost tripping over her own feet as she beelined for the living room. Sure enough, there sat Lily on the couch, her tear-streaked face lit by the flickering glow of the television. Mommy! Lily cried, her little arms reaching out. Mia scooped her up into a tight embrace, breathing in the familiar smell of baby shampoo mixed with the slight hint of her favorite blanket. Oh, my baby, I'm here, she whispered, kissing the top of her head. What happened? I slipped. Lily sniffled, her voice trembling. But I'm okay. I just wanted you. Mia's heart ached at the vulnerability of her daughter. I'm right here. Did Mrs. Johnson take good care of you? Yes. Lily looked up with wide eyes, still glistening with tears. But I wanted you. As Mia held her tightly, she felt the rush of love swell deep within her. She was so grateful for this little girl who somehow made everything around her feel manageable. But the grip of life's chaos squeezed at her heart. How was she going to provide for Lily? How could she balance work, motherhood, and her own dreams? The phone buzzed again, cutting through her thoughts. It was a message from Mark. Hope everything's alright. Call if you need me. Mia glanced at Lily, who was starting to calm down, leaning against her shoulder. It's okay, baby. You're safe. But isolation began to creep in, the nagging thought that she was doing this all on her own. Couldn't she allow someone in? Mark had shown kindness, and instead of feeling uplifted, she was terrified. Mommy? Lily's quiet voice pulled her back. Can we watch the movie? A familiar warmth enveloped Mia. Of course, sweetheart. Let us cuddle up. As they sank into the couch together, Mia felt the weight of her worries slowly begin to lift. Watching Lily's smile as the movie started reminded her why she fought so hard every day, but as the film played on, her phone buzzed again, this time with an unexpected photo attachment. The screen showed a picture of a family gathering, laughter shining from each face. The text read, "Can't wait to see you at the next family dinner." Mia's stomach twisted. How long could she keep hiding from that world? A family dinner? The idea weighed heavily on her heart. She had Mark's kindness on one hand and the pull of her past on the other. What was your friend's name again? Lily's innocent question shattered her turmoil. What, who? Your friend from the coffee shop, the nice man you were talking to. Mia hesitated, emotions swirling. Was Mark just a friend? Or was it more? The questions lingered, feeding her unease. Could she really let someone new into their lives? The movie played on, lighting up their small living room, but Mia's mind drifted back to the promises of warmth and connection she had felt only hours earlier. The struggle for clarity intensified in her heart. What did she truly want? And just how far was she willing to go to find out? Mia's thoughts raced alongside the film playing in the background, its vibrant colors creating a stark contrast to her internal chaos. She held Lily close, feeling the weight of her daughter's small body against her. The warmth radiating from the tiny girl reminded Mia of an anchor in a stormy sea. But the looming question remained troubled in her heart: could she dare to think of a relationship with Mark? The laughter and joy from the family dinner photo still echoed in her mind. Friends, family, belonging, things she had let slip through her fingers. Mia's pulse quickened, that familiar pulse of panic settling in. What if she was never enough for the life she had imagined? The life that seemed to belong to everyone else but her. Mommy? Lily's soft voice pulled her from the whirlwind. Can we have popcorn? Of course. Mia tried for a brighter tone, pushing her worries aside. Let us make the biggest bowl ever. She gently set Lily down and moved into the kitchen, the scent of popcorn heating in the air, a nostalgic smell that brought her back to simpler times. As she poured the kernels into the pot, memories flashed through her mind, her parents laughing, the smell of butter wafting from the kitchen, the playful arguments about what movie to watch next. An ache filled her heart for the family moments she never thought she would miss so dearly. She felt the weight of being a single parent and the fragility of their little unit. When the popcorn was finally ready, Mia returned to the couch, bowl in hand. Here you go, my little movie critic. She announced as she plopped down beside Lily. The girl squealed in delight, reaching up to grab a handful. They watched the animated characters dance across the screen, but Mia's thoughts drifted back to Mark. He had been so kind, easy to talk to. Why did that frighten her? She didn't want to let him in, only to get hurt again. But when she saw the way he smiled at her, it felt different, like an unexpected spark. Mommy, what's a blind date? Lily asked, pausing mid-chew. Mia's heart skipped. Well, it's when two people meet for the first time to see if they like each other, she explained, trying to keep things simple. Like when you met Mark? Lily's innocent question hung between them. Mia chuckled nervously. Sort of, but mommy has to figure things out first. Lily nodded, seemingly satisfied, and returned her focus to the screen. The simplicity of their moment made Mia suppress her fear, even if just for a heartbeat. But she knew that ignoring her emotions wouldn't help. I need to call him, she thought, her mind in a wordless argument. But what will I say? Overwhelmed by everything churning inside, she finally picked up her phone again. With trembling fingers, she hit Mark's number before she could give in to hesitation. As the phone rang, she glanced at Lily, who was completely engrossed in the movie. You can do this, she whispered to herself, feeling the pulse of hope intertwining with anxiety. The call connected, and his warm voice filled the space. Mia. Hey, Mark, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. Mia, I'm so glad you called. How's everything? His concern wrapped around her like a comforting blanket. Mia hesitated. The moment felt monumental, each word heavy with unspoken weight. Can we talk? In person? I'd love that. When? Tomorrow, maybe? At the coffee shop? Absolutely. I'll be there. She hung up, her heart fluttering with possibilities. Could this be the start of something new? A shot at connection, despite her fears. Mommy? Lily's voice tore through her thoughts once more. Are you happy? Mia turned to look deep into her daughter's innocent eyes and felt a surge of emotion. Right now, yes, I am. But deep inside, a knot of uncertainty remained. What was included in that promise to herself? Tomorrow held the potential for change, but it also brought nerves that buzzed like static. Could she really follow the thread of her desires, no matter how tangled? A new question flickered in her mind. Was she brave enough to step into the light? As she held Lily's hand, both of their futures hung delicately in the balance. What awaited her in that coffee shop? Would she find the courage she needed, or would the shadows of her past come crashing back? Mia stared at the clock, willing it to move faster. She had been up since early morning, her mind racing with the events of the day ahead. It felt like a tightrope walk, the uncertainty of what would happen in that little coffee shop looming over her like dark clouds. With every tick of the clock, anxiety surged with fresh intensity. Lily's laughter rang out in the background as she played with her toys, unaware of the internal struggle swirling around her mother. Mia watched her, grounding herself in the pure joy emanating from her daughter. Everything for her, Mia thought, allowing that thought to anchor her. She took a deep breath, exhaling slowly to calm the whirlwind. Mommy, I made this for you. Lily appeared at her side, proudly holding out a paper heart decorated with scribbles. Mia knelt down, her heart swelling as she accepted the messy creation. It's beautiful, sweetheart. You're an artist. She kissed Lily's forehead, feeling a moment of normalcy wash over her. Will you come back and watch a movie with me today? Lily asked, her big brown eyes sparkling with hope. Mia hesitated, glancing at her watch. I will, but I have to do something first, okay? It's important. Okay. Lily waved her hands excitedly and dashed back to her toys. Mia let out a sigh, looking at the heart in her hands. The weight of the decision ahead didn't get any lighter, but she reminded herself of what was at stake. It would be a chance for something different, something good. Arriving at the coffee shop, Mia parked her car and smoothed her hair down nervously. Walking inside, the warm aroma of fresh coffee enveloped her, but it did little to soothe the knots in her stomach. She spotted Mark at a table by the window, his head bent down as he focused on his phone. He looked up when the bell above the door jingled as Mia entered, and a smile lit his face. It felt both comforting and terrifying, a mixture of warmth and vulnerability she hadn't known in years. Hey! He said, rising to greet her. You made it. Yeah, thanks for waiting. She could hear her heart beating in her ears, tethered between excitement and fear. "I hope you like cappuccinos," he said, motioning toward the steaming cup in front of her. "Actually, I'm more of a black coffee person," Mia admitted sheepishly, laughing nervously. "Then let us switch," he offered, already reaching for his cup before she could respond, his easy demeanor easing some weight from her shoulders. As their cups traded hands, Mia felt their connection strengthening. The conversation flowed effortlessly, the earlier tension dissipating. They shared stories about their childhoods, their favorite foods, and the kinds of movies that made each of them cry. But beneath the laughter, a quiet worry lingered with every beat of her heart. "You really have a great taste in films," Mark said, taking a sip of his coffee. "Do you have any plans this weekend? Maybe we could catch one together." A delicious sensation stirred in her belly at the idea. But just as quickly, the fear whispered harshly in her ear. "What if this doesn't work out? What happens if I get hurt again?" She opened her mouth, about to express her doubts, when suddenly, a frantic barista rushed past them, shouting in a flustered tone. "Help! Someone just fainted in the back." Mia's breath caught in her throat, a wave of concern washing over her. Mark stood up, glancing at her with wide eyes. "Should we help?" he suggested, instinctively moving toward the commotion. "Wait!" she shouted, grabbing his wrist, fear gripping her heart. This wasn't just a date, it felt like a wake-up call. What mattered now was how they reacted in this moment rather than the fear of what might happen later. Their eyes locked, and in that brief silence, Mia felt a stirring of resolve. Maybe opening her heart wouldn't mean facing the darkness alone. Perhaps it could be a journey of healing together instead. Mia took a deep breath, realizing that the stakes were higher than just coffee. "Let us go help." In that moment, she had chosen courage. And as they stepped toward the chaos, understanding that they would both need each other, Mia couldn't escape the question lingering in her heart. Could this connection be the start of something deeper, or would the unexpected chaos of life pull her away just as quickly? As they rushed to the back of the coffee shop, Mia's heart pounded. The murmur of surprised customers surrounded them, but all she could focus on was the crisis unfolding ahead. Each step felt heavy, the weight of uncertainty pressing down on her as they approached the group of onlookers. The sight that met them was chaotic. A woman lay on the floor, her face pale and eyes closed, surrounded by a flurry of confused patrons. The barista who had called for help was attempting to revive her, but there seemed to be no clear direction. Mark, his demeanor suddenly serious, slipped into action. "Step aside," he called, his voice commanding yet calm. Mia watched as he knelt next to the woman, checking her pulse and quickly assessing the situation. "Does anyone have water? And call 911. Mia's stomach twisted. She hadn't expected to be thrust into an emergency like this. As people scrambled to follow Mark's orders, she found herself standing still, torn between wanting to help and the fear of making things worse. Just then, a sense of urgency swept over her. She'd been paralyzed by her insecurities for so long, fearful of taking risks or stepping out of her comfort zone. But this was different. This was real. This was about caring for someone else in need. As she instinctively knelt beside Mark, their hands nearly touched. "What can I do?" she asked, her voice steadier than she felt. "Stay with her," Mark instructed, his gaze shifting to her, catching her eye. "Make sure she stays awake. Talk to her." Mia swallowed hard, nodding. "Okay," she said, taking a shaky breath while her chest tightened with anxiety. She reached for the woman's hand, the warmth of it grounding her. "Hi there, I'm Mia. You're going to be okay. Just stay with me. Help is on the way." Slowly, the woman's eyelids fluttered open, confusion dawning in her eyes. "What happened?" she murmured, her voice weak. "You fainted," Mia explained, using her best reassuring tone. "Just take deep breaths. You're safe here." Mark continued to keep an eye on their surroundings, directing bystanders. Mia could feel the tension in the air as people watched, a mix of concern and helplessness etched on their faces. Amid the turmoil, Mia found a strange sense of purpose. She wanted to be the one to help. She felt her own worries fade as she focused on the woman before her. Somehow, this was bringing clarity. Before long, the sound of sirens cut through the chatter of the coffee shop. Relief washed over her. Help was here. But as Mia glanced at Mark, she noticed a glimmer of admiration in his eyes, and it fluttered something within her. The paramedics arrived and swiftly took control of the situation, but Mia's heart was racing for another reason. She and Mark had just shared an experience that went beyond coffee or small talk. As they stepped back, watching the professionals work, an unspoken bond settled between them. Mark turned to her, his expression filled with something deeper. "You were amazing back there." Mia felt warmth spread through her cheeks. "I was just doing what I could do." "No, really. You were brave." His voice was soft, charged with sincerity. Standing amidst the chaotic crowd, with relief and gratitude in the air, Mia realized that maybe the connection they felt was real. Maybe she could let down her guard just a little. But as the paramedics wheeled the woman away, Mia's thoughts turned to Lily. The world outside this coffee shop was waiting for her, pulling her back to reality. Would she dare to embrace this connection with Mark? "What happens now?" she asked, her heart pounding again, this time with hope. "Now. I think we owe ourselves another coffee date," Mark quipped with a smile, light breaking through the earlier chaos. But what Mia didn't expect was the wave of doubt crashing down again, reminding her of the risk she'd be taking. Would she have the courage to open her heart amidst the uncertainty, or would she let fear pull her back into her old life? Mia blinked as Mark's suggestion hung in the air. The bustling coffee shop was settling back into a semblance of normalcy, but inside, she felt anything but calm. A coffee date? It sounded simple, innocent even, but for her, it was a leap into the unknown. Mark's eyes sparkled, waiting for her response as the weight of the moment crashed down on her. Yeah. She finally replied, forcing out a laugh that was nervous rather than joyful. "I'd like that." He smiled, but Mia caught the quick flicker of concern in his expression. Did he sense her hesitation? As Mia stepped outside into the bright sunlight, the coolness of the air contrasted sharply with the warmth bubbling inside her. She couldn't ignore the fluttering of butterflies in her stomach. It felt exhilarating and terrifying all at once, like standing at the edge of a diving board, contemplating the leap. "Mia?" Mark called from behind her, pulling her from her thoughts. "You okay?" Yeah. Just needed a moment." She plastered a smile on her face as he caught up to her. Their shoulders brushed, sending a little jolt through her. There was something about proximity that heightened her senses, making every moment feel amplified. "Want to grab some coffee down the street? Or is that too much caffeine?" Mark chuckled, breaking through the tension. "No, it's perfect," she replied, and then added, more coffee seems like the thing to do. Under the circumstances." He nodded, his gaze warm and inviting. With every step, Mia could feel the weight of her previous fears start to slip away, replaced by a fragile hope. Maybe this was the start of something, the slow unraveling of her carefully constructed walls. As they walked, their conversation flowed with ease, peppered with laughter and shared stories. Mark spoke about his love for cooking and how he once tried to impress a girl with his famous lasagna only to burn it. The image of a flustered Mark in front of a fiery stove made her giggle, pulling her deeper into the moment. "Okay, so what about you?" he asked, stopping just outside the next coffee shop, his eyes searching hers. "What's your famous dish?" Mia hesitated. Should she mention how her culinary skills consisted primarily of microwave dinners and the occasional toast? Instead, she shrugged, trying to play it cool. "Honestly, I'm still mastering the art of boiling water." Mark laughed genuinely, his energy infectious. "We're going to have to change that." How about I teach you a few tricks sometime? His casual suggestion sent a jolt of warmth through her. The idea of spending time with Mark, cooking together, felt like a dream she had never imagined possible. Was she really considering this? Just as they stepped inside the quaint coffee shop, a dark cloud momentarily shadowed her excitement. Images of Lily popped into her mind, her friend's face, the pressures of expectations, and that heavy conversation they had about Mia opening up more. Would she even know how to balance this newfound potential with her commitments? Mia took a deep breath. Mark, I have to be honest. I'm not sure how to juggle everything. My life is a bit complicated. He paused, lowering his coffee cup. Hey, we all have complexities, Mia. Life isn't just one big coffee date. His tone was gentle, non-judgmental. But I promise, I'm all in if you are. His straightforward honesty surprised her, and she felt her heart beat a little faster. What if she did this? What if she opened herself to the possibility of more than just friendship? Intrigued but scared, she wondered, was she ready to embrace the risk of connection? Just as she was about to respond, a raucous shout came from the other side of the café, drawing their attention. A commotion was unfolding, and the moment of revelation rested in the air. What was about to happen next would change everything. Would that be the moment that helped Mia decide? Mia turned toward the loud voice, her heart racing as she tried to process the chaos that was unfolding. A group of college students had burst in, their laughter booming, and one of them was gesturing wildly with a bright pink coffee cup, almost spilling its contents. Check it out. The hot choco hurrocks is on the menu today, the boy shouted, eliciting giggles from his friends as he held up the strangely named drink like a trophy. Mark chuckled, momentarily distracted from their conversation. I think I'll stick to a regular latte, he said, shaking his head, but there was a glimmer of amusement in his eyes. Mia couldn't help but smile, the lightness of his spirit drawing her in more. As the ruckus continued, Mia's thoughts spiraled. This was exactly the kind of spontaneous energy she usually avoided. She often preferred the predictable conversations, predictable outings. Yet here she was, watching Mark and feeling something shift within her. Maybe I should try that hot choco hurrocks, she shot back, half joking, yet the idea felt like a step toward leaving her comfort zone. A shiver of excitement coursed through her. Mark's laughter was infectious, and those butterflies in her stomach danced with renewed vigor. All right, let us do it. Mark replied, his enthusiasm lighting up the corner of the café. Mia felt a rush of courage as they moved toward the counter. The barista raised an eyebrow as Mia glanced at the menu again, suddenly feeling overwhelmed by all her options. She fumbled through her thoughts. Should she order the same drink, the milkshake-colored concoction appearing trendy and fun? It was just a coffee order, why was she overthinking it? She opened her mouth to speak but stopped as a sudden pang of uncertainty washed over her. Hey, what's your usual? She asked Mark, leaning into his familiar presence as they waited in line. He shrugged. I like to switch it up. Keeps things interesting. Interesting, right, she repeated, biting her lip. So, what's it going to be? He pressed playfully. Mia swallowed hard. All right, I'll go for the hot choco hurrocks, she said, surprising even herself with her own boldness. An unexpected cheer erupted from the college group, and Mia turned a slight shade of pink. Mark grinned at her, clearly pleased. See? That wasn't so hard, was it? He nudged her playfully, urging her to lean just a bit further outside her comfort zone. Mia's heart swelled at the small victory and yet trembled with absurd apprehension. What was this change in her? She wanted to find out more about herself in moments like this, but the closer they got, the more weighty her unresolved thoughts about Lily and her expectations pressed against her. Their order was placed, and as they stepped to the side to wait, Mark angled his shoulder to her. You know, it's just coffee. A fun little adventure. Right? Just coffee, Mia echoed, trying to convince herself. But was it really that simple? The connection building between them felt anything but pedestrian. The drinks were delivered, and Mia held her cup up to see the whimsical drink, a swirl of whipped cream and sprinkles, with a cherry on top. She let out a small laugh. I think I was overdue for this kind of fun. Cheers to that. Mark responded, grinning as he held his latte up to clink against hers. Mia felt a swell of warmth. Yet in the back of her mind, that nagging worry loomed over her like a storm cloud. Could she balance this playfulness with the serious stuff? Could she really embrace this budding connection without forgetting the responsibilities tugging at her? A silence fell over them, and in that moment, she caught a glimpse of her reflection in the glass behind Mark. The uncertainty in her eyes was unmistakable. What if this fun ended in heartbreak? Mia? Are you ready for the next step? Mark's voice interrupted her spiral of thoughts, and she met his hopeful gaze, the question hanging between them like a shimmering thread. Was she ready to take that leap? She had a choice to make, and maybe today was the day to decide whether to dive in or hold back. And then, loudly, the door to the café burst open again. Another wave of students flooded in, all eyes on Mia and Mark. One of them pointed excitedly, and she realized they were whispering about her. What did they know? What was about to unfold? Mia's heart pounded. They were looking at her, some with smirks, others with wide eyes. It was as if a spotlight had flicked on. The laughter of the new arrivals filled the café, ricocheting off the walls like a live echo. Panic surged through her, tight and quick. What is happening? She whispered, glancing up at Mark. Hey, it could be good, he said, his eyes sparkling with a mix of mischief and curiosity. You must be famous or something. Famous for what? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Another student stepped forward, hair tousled and a bright smile on his face. You just ordered the hot choco hurrahs. I mean, how could we not notice? Mia's cheeks flamed. Oh, right, she managed, fumbling with the cup in her hands as her confidence wavered. Mark chuckled, clearly enjoying the attention. It takes some guts to order that. It's like a rite of passage here. Exactly. Anyone who orders it gets a special shout-out, the boy added, laughter breaking free from his friends. She felt the heat of embarrassment creep further up her neck. The students seemed like a unit, all on board with some inside joke she wasn't privy to. When had ordering coffee become a performance? Before she could contemplate another sip, Mark leaned in a little closer. You see? He whispered, teasingly. No regrets. Just excitement. But what if they laugh at me? I was just trying to be fun, she replied, her voice laced with hesitance. They're not laughing at you, they're just cheering you on. Hey, look around, he encouraged, gesturing lightly. Most of them are here for a good time, just like you. Mia dared to glance back at the group. They were still buzzing with enthusiasm, some filming her with their phones. It wasn't mockery, it felt more like support, like they were all in on a joke that involved her. Okay, maybe I can work this, she thought, her nerves sharpening into something more exhilarating. Right. Hot choco hurrahs. Mia declared, lifting her cup, channeling adrenaline she didn't quite understand. The laughter silenced, and for a moment, all she heard was the low hum of the café. Their eyes were on her, a wavering mix of anticipation and challenge. Cheers to that. Mark laughed, raising his latte once again. Mia grinned, shaking off her fear. You know what? I'm ready to embrace the chaos. She shouted, surprising herself with newfound boldness. They clinked their cups together as laughter erupted again, some cheers punctuating the moment. The warmth of acceptance enveloped Mia, competing with the anxiety still curving at the corners of her mind. It was thrilling to feel the connection, to laugh genuinely instead of merely smiling out of congeniality. Yet, the weight of those expectations still lay heavy, lurking beneath the surface. So, tell us about your daring coffee choice. The boy from earlier called, drawing curious glances from the crowd. Mia felt herself about to answer but stopped short. They genuinely wanted to know her reason. Did she have one beyond playing it safe? I figured, if I'm going all out, why not start with a drink that's as silly as the name sounds? She said, her heart racing as she revealed a truth that had bubbled up from deep inside. It was exhilarating, freeing. A rush unlike anything she had ever felt. Mark beamed at her. See? You're owning it. She returned his smile, feeling something shift. But just as the tension began to dissipate, she spotted Lily at the entrance of the café. The color drained from her face as her best friend caught sight of her, standing there under the weight of her disapproving gaze. Mia's heart raced. Had she really made the right choice, or had she just stepped into a storm of judgment? Mark. I think I need to, she began, but the look in Lily's eyes said everything. And once again, Mia was faced with a crossroads. What would Lily think of her newfound courage? Would she stand by her or pull her back into the predictable? Ready for what comes next? Mark asked, sensing her shift in mood. But that was just it. She wasn't sure anymore. Mia felt the world around her shrink as Lily's eyes bore into hers, a heavy weight curling in her stomach. She wanted to reach out, to reassure her daughter that this wasn't a mistake, but the words tangled on her tongue. The laughter faded into the background, the vibrant atmosphere suddenly muted as Mia tried to glean Lily's thoughts from her expression. Mommy, what are you doing here? Lily asked, arms crossed, her little brow furrowed. I thought you were working. Stepping closer, Mia felt her heart racing. I was. I wanted to try something different, she replied, forcing a smile that felt foreign. Do you want to come say hi? Lily shifted her weight, glancing at the crowd and then back at Mia. Is that the guy from the coffee shop? She asked, her voice softer but heavy with curiosity. Before Mia could respond, Mark stepped forward, his warm smile untouched by the sudden tension. Hi there. I'm Mark. Mia was just telling me all about how brave she is, he said playfully, extending a hand. Lily's gaze darted between Mark and her mother, uncertainty painting her features. But Mia felt a flicker of hope. Perhaps this moment could bridge the divide, draw them closer instead of pushing them apart. This is my daughter, Lily, Mia introduced, pride swelling in her chest. Lily hesitated, then reached forward, shaking Mark's hand for a moment, her grip hesitant but curious. Nice to meet you, she said, voice small. I'm happy to meet you, too. You must be super proud to have such an amazing mom. Mark bent down slightly, meeting her gaze, and Mia could sense the comfort he was trying to create between them. Yeah, but she doesn't really let me have fun very often, Lily replied, her innocence both disarming and striking. Mia winced slightly, feeling the truth hit her squarely in the chest. I know life can be overwhelming sometimes, but I'm trying to balance fun and everything else, too, she said, her voice steadier than she felt. Mark, sensing the shift, glanced between the two of them, his eyes sparkling with encouragement. Maybe I could help with that. How about a trip to the ice cream shop soon, Lily? That sounds like a fun time. Really? Lily's curiosity ignited, her brows lifting. Mia's heart softened at Mark's genuine interest in her daughter, yet the inner turmoil bubbled just below the surface. That sounds great, she replied tentatively, trying to match the enthusiasm, but shadows of doubt loomed. See? I think we could all use some more fun. Mark beamed, joy alighting his features. What do you think, Mia? Lily's eyes lit up, and for a moment, everything felt right. Perhaps Mark's presence was not a threat to their small world, but rather an opportunity to expand it. But the reality of responsibility gnawed at Mia. She wanted to seize this moment, feel the shift in their energy, yet the burden of motherhood loomed large. It's just everything feels so chaotic sometimes, Mia admitted, vulnerability threading through her voice. Can we really find a balance? Mark stepped closer, his expression shifting to one of understanding. Life can feel chaotic, yes, but it's also about making space for joy, for connections. This could be a fun adventure for all of us. An ice cream. Lily interjected, excitement bubbling from her tiny frame. Mia felt a wave of warmth, heart swelling with the knowledge that courage could blossom in the chaos. Okay, she finally said, resolve hardening within her. Let us give it a shot. In that moment, the weight of her fears lifted slightly, the prospect of balance shimmering on the horizon. Perhaps the laughter and lightness Mark offered could weave into their lives, stitching together the fabric of their small family. Let us get our drinks and enjoy this moment, Mark suggested, holding out his latte. Mia clinked her colorful drink against his, and to her surprise, she felt confident enough to hold Lily's hand tightly in hers, threads of connection intertwining in the most unexpected way. As they stepped back into the world beyond the café, the sun bathed them in golden light. Mia could finally see the path ahead, one that didn't require sacrificing part of herself for love or joy, but rather inviting them to coexist. Let us get some hot choco hurrahs and maybe we can plan that ice cream trip soon. Mia said, laughter bubbling up as they walked down the street, her heart lighter than it had been in years. The echoes of her past still whispered, but within the chaos of life, Mia felt the promise of connection twinkling like stars in the night sky. Could love truly bloom in such a chaotic life? With every step she took, an answer began to unfurl, a brave new world of companionship, laughter, and ice cream awaiting them all. So here it was, the beginning of something incredible, joy threaded through family, building piece by piece. And Mia found herself ready to embrace it all. Now, it's your turn. This chapter has been an emotional ride, and we want you to be part of this journey. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories, leave a like now to feed the algorithm and keep the magic alive, comment your reactions and feelings about Mia's journey and the choices she made, share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation and remind them that connections matter. You need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support. And don't wait not even one more second to share.